Well, hello everyone. It's Monday night before the big day tomorrow, huh? We're back in school. I hope you guys are having a good last day of your break. Beautiful day out today on my truck. I had a high of 56 degrees. Take a look at my nose, huh? Ugh. Um, I can't take much more sun, I don't think. I was out on Black Duck Lake today. Drove my truck out there. Not a smart move. Take my advice. Do not do that. When I got out there, the ice was fine. By the time I got off the lake, I had it in four-wheel drive, and I thought for sure I was going in right at the access. But anyways, I'm sitting out on my deck tonight, enjoying the last of the evening sun. 1 second here. The sun's going down. Darn it! It has gone down kind of behind the trees, so still a little bit of snow in the yard, probably some snow in your yard still too, huh? I'm going to read another chapter to you tonight. Here I am. I'm going to read another chapter to you tonight. This is chapter 4. It's called Ray Loveday. And if you remember, Loveday was the name of, if I'm not mistaken, the day of like the first day of the invasion of Okinawa. So, without further ado, here we go. Ray Loveday. Blood pounded in Ray's ears as he staggered into the waist-high surf, his heart beating a thousand times a second. His helmet slid down over his eyes again, and he struggled to push it up. He plunged headlong through the waves and tried to keep his rifle out of the water. The pack on his back felt like it weighed 10 tons and was going to drag him down with it. Stay low, don't bunch up, and run like the devil's chasing you, he repeated to himself. He high-stepped the waves when he could, separating himself from the other Marines so they wouldn't make such easy targets. He crouched low, his whole body clenched in anticipation of the machine gun fire, which never came. Only after he had scrambled over the broken remains of the seawall and lurched up onto the beach did Ray realize there was nobody to shoot, and nobody shooting at him. Besides the giant craters left by the Navy's artillery, it was just a white, sandy beach with low, rolling green hills beyond. No 10-foot seawall, no mines, no barbed wire, no machine gun nests. Nothing. There's got to be some mistake, thought Ray. Where were all the bodies, the wrecked vehicles, the machine guns, the mortars? Everyone had promised would blow him apart. One of the Sherman tanks, fitted out with pontoons to help it through the surf, clanked to a stop nearby. The tank commander popped up from the top hatch to see it with his own two eyes. He tipped his helmet back and scratched his head, clearly as perplexed as Ray and everyone else. Out at sea, Japanese kamikazes were buzzing the American and British ships like flies. But here, on the island, the Japanese army wasn't putting up any resistance at all. The rest of Ray's company splashed up around him. "Where's the Japs?" someone asked. "Looks like they've taken a powder," said one of the new guys. "Man, this is almost scarier than being shot at," Big John said. He propped his big Browning automatic rifle on his shoulder. The Browning, what the others called a bar, B-A-R, was so heavy it came with its own bipod. Came with its own bipod to rest the barrel on. But Big John was so strong, he carried it the way Ray carried his much lighter rifle. "Did the Navy barrage kill them all?" Ray asked. Big John shook his head. "That seawall we walked over? Yeah, but there weren't nobody defending it, or there'd be bodies all over the place." "Man, I've been on vacation tougher than this," another Marine said with a laugh. "Stay alert and don't get cocky," Sergeant Meredith said, cutting through the chatter. "You don't want to die laughing." That shut them all up. Up and down the beach, sergeants and lieutenants pulled squads and companies together out of the chaos. Ray and Big John and the sergeant were a part of Easy Company, the nickname for Company E. Ray's squad came together and they tiptoed their way up to the top of the dunes at the edge of the beach. There was nothing beyond that except for a patchwork of farms as far as the eye could see. "Looks like you're getting that nickname after all, kid," Big John said. What was his nickname again? I cannot remember. And Ray smiled in spite of himself. What was supposed to have been a meat grinder had been a cakewalk instead. His pack was suddenly light as air, and he felt like he could march for days. "Well, heck, I already lived longer than I thought I would, so I'm happy," said Private First Class Billy Lineker. 1 second. A red-headed 19-year-old from Fort Mill, South Carolina. Everybody called him Hard Luck. Everyone called him Hard Luck Lineker because he'd been shot in the butt at Peleliu and recovered just in time to get himself sent to Okinawa. "I never heard of this Okinawa place until a couple weeks ago," said Private Francisco Gonzalez. "Hey, is that a relationship at all to you, Jason?" He hailed from Visalia, California, and though he wasn't as big and burly as Big John, he was the squad's other bar gunner. Like Ray, he was a new recruit. Why we even want it? "We've been playing leapfrog through the Pacific," explained Corporal Travis Starks. Everybody called Starks the old man because he was 24. Holy cow, what an old man. He was 24 and married with twin daughters back home in Lee's Summit, Missouri. Island to island to island. This is the last rock before the jump to Japan. We take Okinawa, and its next stop, Tokyo. "This is Japan, technically speaking," said Sergeant Meredith. "Even though it's its own island with its own people, it's still a prefecture of Japan, like one of our own states back home. And don't think the Japs are going to give it up without a fight." Everyone nodded, and Ray's pack started to feel a little heavier. "All right, we got to hump half a click east by night to secure the area around the landing beach," Sergeant Meredith said. Ray knew that this meant they had to march east with all their gear for half a kilometer. "Half a click by nightfall," the old man said. "That's crazy. If Okinawa is anything like Peleliu, there'll be caves full of Japanese soldiers all over the place. We won't get 100 yards before we're pinned down." Our orders are half a click by nightfall, so we can make it half a click by nightfall, Sergeant Meredith said firmly. He showed them a map of the immediate area. "Easy Company will spread out here along this road heading east. The rest of the 1st Marines will hump it north above us, and the Army's 96th Division will flank us on the right and then make a hard right turn south. Time's a-wasting. Let's move." Ray's squad got walking down a dirt road through some of the prettiest countryside he'd ever seen. Neat little fields grew rice and beans and sweet potatoes and sugarcane. Thatched-roofed farmhouses sat nestled among forests of pine and bamboo and some kind of strange tree that Ray had never seen before. 1 second, I have to itch my eye. Okay, I'm back. It had a dozen trunks instead of just one, and a big round canopy on top with vines growing straight down like the stringers on a jellyfish. That's a weird-looking tree, huh? In the distance, the farms rolled up into bright green hills and mountains. All in all, it could have been a paradise if they hadn't been for the fight to the if they hadn't been there to fight the Japanese. But there was something else wrong with it too. And finally, Ray put his finger on it. I wonder what it is. there weren't any people. Yes, you could see other rifle squads from Easy Company to the left and to the right, working their way cautiously through fields and forests, but there wasn't a single Okinawan around. Where had they all gone? Had they all been evacuated by the Japanese? Hey, look here! Hard Luck Laniker cried, breaking the silence. They were passing by another farm, and he pointed. A pig! Sure enough, whoever had worked this farm had gone so quickly they'd left behind what looked like a year-old pig. Ray's squad collected it at the fence to its pen. Ray's squad collected at the fence to its pen to watch it snuffling around in the muck. Man, I ain't had a good pork chop in ages, Big John moaned. We ought to kill it, and cook it up, said Gonzales. They all looked to the sergeant, expecting a no, but he was licking his lips. I'm right there with you, boys, but I'm a plumber. I don't know nothing about slaughtering any pig. Anybody else? They all shook their heads except for Ray. A horrible moment from a few years ago on the farm flashed through his mind, and he looked away, trying to forget. Slaughtering this pig would bring up a lot of bad memories for him. But the boys wanted it so bad, and Ray was so eager to earn their friendship. I do, Ray said at last. We used to do it every year back on the farm. Any of you guys ever slaughter a pig? Anyone out there? You have to tell me about it. Izzy? Maybe you, huh? All right, last page. His squad mates' eyes went wide, and suddenly Ray was the most popular guy in all of Okinawa. What do you say, Sergeant? Can we do it? Sergeant Meredith thought on. Well, we're already way ahead of schedule, and I'd sure like some ribs. The other men of Ray's squad hooted and hollered and slapped him in the